Boom! I guess you guys thought this wouldn't drop tonight on a Wednesday night. I meant to get it out earlier today. Things just well, it got in the way of me putting this up a lot earlier. I usually like to drop the pocket change market report in the mornings on Wednesday and Saturday, but sometimes stuff happens. But anyways, we have one here for you today. If this is your first time here, first of all, welcome. Second, we talk about some of the coolest errors and varieties that folks like you and I have found out there in the wild, whether you're going through coin rolls or perhaps, if you're a avid show goer, like coin show attender, or whatever. You could certainly find some of these, cherry pick some errors and varieties that otherwise aren't being attributed by your local, neighborhood coin dealer. So we talk about a lot of those that come up onto the marketplace. A lot of people do search through change and rolls and things like that, primarily to find coins that they could resell. And the cool part is you don't have to grade any of these because they sell for themselves, number one. Number two, some of the values on some of these coins, doesn't justify spending $30 to $60 to grade them through like PCGS or NGC. All right. And another thing that I kind of have to throw into these videos now is a lot of these are generally sold online, where there's a much larger customer base and collector base for such coins. Coin dealers, traditionally, they won't have too much interest in some of these unless it's like a major, like 1955 double to die Lincoln cent, some of the popular ones like that. If we come across a coin that is sellable at a coin dealer, I will be sure to let you guys know. All right, so normally on Wednesday nights, and I'm going to throw this in here, I talk about the coins that I'd be selling on my Whatnot auction that occurs on Friday nights. We're not going to have that tonight, only because two things. I'm uploading the Pocket Change Market Report, so I'm not going to upload this and then upload a Whatnot preview auction video, back to back. I will actually do this tomorrow night. So Thursday night drop on the preview for the coins that will be highlighted on Friday night's coin show. And another thing, a few of the coins that I wanted to talk about for the show this Friday did not come in yet. They'll be in tomorrow, I hope, keeping my fingers crossed. So when those do come in, you'll be sure to see those as well. So it's a U.S. type, and I say last chance because, silver continues to rise up in price. The spot price just keeps inching upwards. Today it went up another like 30-40 cents an ounce. We're kind of testing that $25 support floor, and as you would expect, the market is still quite strong right now at that level. Premiums are through the roof. I was able to acquire some silver for the upcoming show. Still haven't found anything really that I could put in the buy it now store, but I'll let you guys know when that happens. My hopes is I get some of those easy buy it now type material onto my store before the show on Friday. So I'll let you guys know. So kind of a last chance, not really last chance, but I like to kind of spice up the name of the stream, as something that could be a little sense of urgency. So it's this Friday, April 14th, 2023. 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As usual, I will have the referral link down below in the description box. If you haven't signed up yet and you want to possibly just come by and watch how it all works, you could do that. Or if you wanted to actually dip your toe into the auction pool, it's very easy. It's a very easy process. You could sign up and earn yourself that $15 in credit that you could use on your first purchase. So come check things out, see if you like it, and if that's the case, maybe you could put a few bids in, hopefully win something, something nice at a very affordable price. All right, so that's it. Let's go ahead and jump into the listings for the week. So this morning, If you guys were awake, there were a few kind of really neat deals that you could score all from the same seller, and they're all multiple coin lots. I typically tell folks, look out for the lots. Generally, when someone's putting these up and they're selling them in bulk or in multiple pieces, they're willing to accept a little bit less money for them as opposed to trying to sell them individually. So we have a lot of 3 Lincoln Memorial cents, and they're all in pretty nice shape. 3 different dates, 97, 98, and 99, and these were all pitched as broad struck errors. So a broad strike occurs when the collar that normally keeps the coin in place during the striking process either malfunctions, it's not in place, so it can't keep the coin in during the strike, and a lot of that extra metal flow has to go outwards. So the 98 and 99 are the most impressive coins of the group. The 97, a little bit on the minor side, but that is in there as part of the sale. This 3 coin lot ended up selling for $27.40 with 6 bids. The idea and what you want to do is try and make money off these lots. We're a little bit heavy here on the price. If it's sold for like $20, you could probably make about 50% profit on these 3 coins. Relist them, sell them for like $12.99 shipped, things like that, and do really okay on. So that's the first lot from this seller. The second one are actually 2 Lincoln Memorial off-center strikes with full dates. Okay, and that's meaningful because full date off-center struck coins generally command more premium in the marketplace. People collect these by date, so having one with a full readable date and in pretty nice shape are important kind of like buying motives for those collector types. So we have a 92 and a 93. Respectively, they're kind of similar as far as spread. These are off-center by about 70%. The 93 probably 65 if I had to guess. Again, looking at these coins, these are copper-coated zincs. So you have a lot of exposed zinc, which can corrode in time, especially if they're not being stored properly. A nice dry environment is vital in ensuring the long-term, eye appeal of these coins. This 2 coin set sold for $26.50 with 11 bids. Again, we're a little heavy on the bids here for it to make any sense to buy and resell. We have another 3 coin lot. This time we have a 1988, what looks to be a 1983 maybe, and a 1990. Kind of hard to tell on this particular graphic, but these are the seller provided photos for their listings, so we're just running with this. So 3 coins, all off center, full dates. Again, very meaningful for collectors, and this could possibly be an opportunity to resell. The 3 coins ended up selling for $44 with 20 bids. In the perfect world, someone could buy this and sell them for $19.99 shipped. All right, as long as you keep it under $20, you could do the plain white envelope option for shipping, which will generally run you about 85 cents. And last time I checked, plain white envelopes, you could get them at the dollar store, or what they call it now, the $1.25 Dollar Tree store, and you could buy a pack of 100 of them, and it's like the easiest, cheapest shipping material costs that you'll realize out of the whole thing. And then just use 2x2 cardboard holders, which are a dime a dozen these days. So shipping these out will be very minimal cost. So $44 on this one, 20 bids. Here's another one, albeit these are quite a bit tougher dates, the 74D especially. But we have 2 off-center struck Lincoln Memorials, a 70D and a 74D. Very nice, probably off-center by about 80% on both of them. Very nice condition. I don't see any distracting marks or any damage on either of these coins. And together, these sold for $40.90 with 16 bids. I've seen these particular dates, especially the 1970D, sell in the neighborhood of that $30 to $35 range. The 74D, because it is a tougher date, you could probably go up to like $40 for that one. But there's going to be someone that will need that date specifically. You could end up making about $25, $30 by buying this one, which again, it's $40.90 with 16 bids. All right, well, here's another lot from a completely different seller, and this is actually quite cool. It's a set of 4 $1 Fed Reserve notes, and they all have the same error. They're all consecutive serial numbers, and I would have to believe that these were all on the same like edge of the sheet. But what we have here is a partial back-to-front wet ink transfer. You can see that green ink from the design of the reverse on the left side of each note in about the same kind of like percentage. So it's roughly about 15% of the note is covered up with this wet ink offset transfer. When we look at the back, it's completely normal, but it looks like these notes were pulled out of bank straps. They are very minty fresh. They are in high condition. The 4 notes collectively sold for $185.49 with 18 total bids this time around. So that puts them at, let's see, right around $46, somewhere around there per piece. Again, you could take these, flip them for $79.99 shipped. And because of their condition, you could certainly justify that. Or you could sell the 4 notes as a set because they are consecutive. You could sell the 4 notes collectively for probably like $299. So this one right here is a really, really square deal. Someone else who doesn't particularly care about currency and just to flip, we'll probably end up making about $100 on this sale. So really not bad. This is a great 4 note set. Something that you don't see every day either. Here's the neat one. Again, these do exist out there, and they were distributed in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, that particular south central region of the U.S. And it's the high and low leaf Wisconsin state quarters. Now, these are dated 2004, and they have to have the Denver mint mark. But if you can see here, this particular one is the low leaf variety, which looks to be an intentional engraving on the working dies. And the high leaf one is actually another engraved line that sweeps upward and not, across like this one is. So these coins, as long as they're problem-free, are going to be scooped up on the secondary market. And this particular example, no exception, sold for $135. Now, these particular photos look like it was generated from a flatbed scanner. And that's generally fine. You'll get nice crisp images that way. But what you're not going to get is luster. So if a coin is mid-state, you're not going to be able to grab that luster as well on a flatbed scanner as you would, say, taking it with your smartphone. So if you have a way of showing that just for condition purposes, that's going to help you guys a lot and hopefully help you make a much more robust sale. $135 for this is still very good. It's probably above market for a coin in this condition. Okay, well, here's our featured subject coin for the day. This coin was actually sold twice, okay? So someone took a page out of the BlueRidgeSilverhound flipping handbook. Someone bought this one, I believe in regular auction for $33, all right? And it's simply a Lincoln cent that was struck on a really defective planchet. The planchet was in really bad shape, but they still used it to strike a 1973 Lincoln. So there's a pretty deep fissure going right down the middle. You also have those cuts and cracks and things like that. And kind of hard to believe that this thing circulated for as much as it did. And it's understandable because when someone sees this, they're going to automatically assume the worst. Like, wow, man, this thing was like used as a tool. You know how we all used to use like a penny or a dime as a flat blade screwdriver. I'm guilty of that myself. And in a pinch, it doesn't hurt. And you got to make sure it's a coin with no variety on it or error. But Yeah, these things generally, fall through the cracks of many non-collectors. But until that one person who is perceptive enough and a little bit curious to find something like this will do really well. So again, the first time around, it sold for $33. Okay, the person that bought it ended up putting it back up as they buy it now and sold it for $60. That's kind of the name of the game. That's kind of why we do this, is to recognize like a cheaper than normal deal. I think that first sale was a bid up auction. I think there was like maybe 5 or 6 bids on that one. So usually on the auction sales, they tend to sell for a little bit less than what the actual market is. But something like this is dramatic enough and wild enough that it was purchased and then resold, and it sold 1 week later. The previous coin sold, I think, April 6th or something like that. And then this one resold today, actually earlier this morning. So well done. That's how you do it. And a great example of how you play this game of resell the coin. All right, so yeah, we don't talk about these ones that much, but we ended up talking about one of these on the live coin Q&A live stream this past Monday. So it's worth talking about, and this is what they call a first day cover. So these brand new $2 bills with a remarkable reverse. I actually have another one here in stream with the reverse, but these things, you could have picked these up from the bank, taking them to the post office, and they could postmark it for you with a date. Now, the first official date for this was supposed to be April 13th, 1976. However, there were a number of people that grabbed a hold of these $2 bills, had taken them to the post office a little bit earlier. They put on the postage stamp that was available at that time. And by the way, the Spirit of 76 stamp that you see here is really cool on this note. But if you're able to find one of these somewhere out there in the collectibles world that's dated earlier than April 13th, wow, these things are highly desired. Like this one right here is April 12th. Sure, it's only 1 day sooner, but that's all it takes. This one ended up selling for $175, whereas regular first day cover $2 bills will command in that $15 to $20 range. They're actually quite common, especially through like coin shows and things like that. And most dealers are not privy to this. So if you find one at a dealer table and it's dated April 12th, pick it up, especially if they're asking $15, $20, $30 for it. This is a huge rip. And if you can find them even older than that, with like an April 11th stamp, an April 10th, I think I've seen one as early as like April 5th or something weird like that. Those things are pursued to no end. So look out for these. I know they're kind of like niche and kind of like, out there, but people do come across these, and generally these things pop up in old collections that's been passed down by family members. So, it's like when you first see it, you're like, I just want to take the stamp off and spend it as $2. Don't do that. These things actually have value. All right, so more currency. Currency, I'm not going to say dominated this week, but there's quite a few listings, and again, proving once again that if you're not hunting currency, you might be missing out. So this is a really minor error, but boy, even the minor stuff can make a little bit of an impact on your wallet. 2017 $1 bill, all right? It looks like a normal run-of-the-mill circulated piece, but it has what they call a gas pump turn digit. So you can see the last number in this serial number, the 3, is a little bit higher than the rest. All right, so people will, they'll market these and sell them as a gas pump error, which is fine. These are quite minor and they're all over the place, but you'll want to find these on $1 and $2 bills. Not anything else of a higher denomination because you won't make as much money. So this one, ladies and gentlemen, surprisingly sold for $19.99. So go out there, look for these, and if you make $10 a pop, $20 is kind of a little bit overachieving amount of money for a gas pump. But I see $10, $15 on a regular occasion for these. And there are a number of currency collectors that like having these. The next one that we have here, I mean, this is a crazy error. 1983 P. Jefferson nickel double struck with a uniface reverse. This one right here, the secondary strike is approximately 80-85% off center. Really wild coin. Again, the likelihood that you'll come across one of these in like a bankroll, very minimal because it's out of range of size. So this one sold for $43.20 with 13 bids. Again, this is a higher tier type of mint error. Again, revisiting the good old Washington crossing the Delaware quarters, we have a 2021 with another crown die chip. This one a much smaller piece. I haven't talked about one of these in probably a few months as far as a smaller progression type. But let's go ahead and review the value on these. So the prices have come down a little bit on these particular errors. However, they still have a little bit of value. I'm glad. So this one right here ended up selling for $12.50 at one time when these were first found. They were a $30 to $40 coin. So you could see over time, these things do retrace to a point that is more manageable because everybody else owns this particular size and progression. So with that being said, there's not going to be nearly as much desirability for these coins as we go on through time. Unless you have like a high-end, example that's not graded, those will always sell pretty generously. Again, more currency. So we have one of your prototypical like great Star Note finds, and that's the 2013 dated B. So you're gonna make sure it's a New York district seal Star Notes. There's a certain serial number range that were duplicated at both the Fort Worth and Washington, D.C. BEP facilities. Okay, this is all done in error. It wasn't supposed to happen. But there are two different sets of the same serial number that starts with B with the same serial number and a star. The only difference is going to be the plate number right here on the bottom right. This one says FW, which means this one was printed at the Fort Worth BEP facility. Now this one sold for a lot of money, and the seller pitched it as a low serial number. So it might be one of the lowest in the set out there. There's not too many of them, I'm sure. This one ended up selling for $111, which is anywhere from 4 to 5 times what they normally sell for. Back of the note showing a good deal of circulation and the folds in there as well. Oh, another good one here, 2022P, and by the way, you can find the same error on a 2023. So look out for this one on the new nickels as well. 2022 Philadelphia minted nickel with clash dies. So you can see the eyeball of Thomas Jefferson and a few other character lines clashed on the reverse right underneath the steps of Monticello. So quite minor in some regards, but with that eyeball popping out there, people do like these. This one ended up selling for $11.50. So they are around a $10 bill from what I've seen. They're just a consistent seller, and they're interesting enough that you'll sell them pretty regularly. One every maybe 2 weeks to 30 days, somewhere around there. So they're not going to sit around in your eBay store for that long. Another neat one here, and thankfully the seller ended up holding on to both pieces. Now this is a 1943 Philadelphia silver wartime nickel. These things were notorious for bad annealing and lamination issues and the whole 9 yards. This was at one point a clamshell lamination. So it looks like this one was helped along at some point. The clamshell was peeled back and then eventually it tore off. You don't normally want to do that, but luckily this particular seller had both pieces. Because we see all too often where the piece that detached had somehow been lost, okay? So this one right here, it is a scarce error, but, if you're going to find it, the wartime dates are going to be kind of like your breadbasket for these. So this one sold for $46, and that's with 15 bids accumulated to that amount. Very, very, very nice amount of money. I would sell one if I had it for $46 every day of the week. Always a big variety to find on 1894 Indian head cents. Now, 1894 is kind of a scarce date for a modern date of Indian head cent, if that makes sense. It's more scarce than any other 1880s or 1890s or even early 1900s Indian head cent. But if you're able to find the doubled date or the RPD, which is a repunch date of this type, you're in a good shape. So you can see this one has really strong repunch 9 and 4. This one is also known as FS301 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And this one, in this condition, with that gash right there, bottom of the bust, right above the hair braid area, this one is sold for $55.50. So always look out for this one. If you come across a small collection of these or an old album, always look at your 1894 doubled dates. And good old was a spinning horse Delaware quarter making yet again another appearance. But this is a great example of one showing the anomaly and how long it gets. It even goes through the horse's head and throughout the back. This is actually a die crack, all right? And that's how it's usually formed. But most die cracks that aren't progressed as advanced as this one will look like just a long spit stream coming out of the horse's mouth and into the sea of Caesar Rodney. And that's how they usually pop up. So this one right here, again, not a high dollar coin, but these have like a niche group of collectors, sold for $9.95. And we also have this 1996 Lincoln Memorial with a really strong obverse clashing. Boy, is this strong. So you could see the clashed memorial on the obverse dies that translated into this really neat looking appearance that you see here. And, the reverse, has some staining and crud on there. So it's not like your top end graded example. But anyways, this one sold for $27.98. Clash dies are trending up with collectors. People are looking to find these for every date. And the stronger, the better. We have a few cuds that'll just blow your mind. Of course, these are the kings of the error world currently in raw condition. We have an undated. We just don't know what the date is because that die break is covering up the date. So I would imagine it's a 1970s coin. It is copper. And a piece of the die had fallen off, okay, which is commonplace on dies, especially the working dies that do all the dirty work. And through wear and tear, pieces will fall off, things will crack, screws will fall out. You guys know that line from a certain movie. Screws fall out all the time. But this one right here, again, really nice piece. $92.24 with 9 bids. Was the final sale price for this one. And this one right here also as impressive, covering the date. We don't know what the date is here. This one respectively sold for $91.12 with 4 bids. So very similar to the previous coin. All right, so here's our out of focus $2 bill. And what you do realize that on this particular note, the overprint is slightly misaligned. Okay, you know how you know? The green seal that's above the word 2 right here is not centered. Everything is down and to the left a little bit. So look out for these. Again, they're commonly overlooked by people who don't specialize in currency collecting. But this is a much bigger deal than you realize, because it's worth way more than $2. By the way, my favorite reverse of any note in circulation today. Just kind of throw that in there because I always do. This one sold for $26.60 with 20 bids. So lo and behold, yeah, a note that is worth more than a $2 bill. It's worth more than a 5, a 10, a 20. You get the big picture. And boy, this one's weekly printed. And this one is actually a second print insufficient ink. So that black design with the portrait, the ink wells were running dry, and when it does that, this is your end product. The actual overprint with the serial numbers and the seals are all fine. They're all to the tolerances of how dark they should be. It's been laid out very nice and even. So yeah, they call this an insufficient ink error on this $1 bill. It is a 1969, I believe, D series, so a little bit older. This one sold for $85.99 with 5 bids. So you can find these on a little bit newer notes. I've actually found one probably like 6 years ago on a 2006 $1 bill, but it was on the reverse. So that green ink was a little bit faded, and it wasn't a chemical wash or anything like that. The note was actually pretty close to being crisp and circulated. There's a little bit of the back showing nothing wild or crazy here. This one looks quite normal. I mean, it's good to see like an early date Lincoln wheat cent, even one that's as pretty well worn as this one. It's a 17D, I believe, or an S. Okay, the seller says it's an S mint, so it's San Francisco. It's off center by about 10%, I would say. And this one also exhibiting a little bit of the wood grain kind of toning. That's kind of like a proper mix of the tin in the copper, and that's how you find all these wild kind of like wood grain striations on the one side of the coin there. This one ended up selling for $54.48. Okay, and that's with shipping included. Here's another one of those Tuskegee Airmen strike-throughs. I had mentioned that there was 1 or 2 individuals buying these out with buy-it-now prices. This one was through a regular auction, and you could see the strike-through anomaly on the building on the reverse. That's not supposed to be there, by the way. This particular example, in pretty nice shape. It's got a few stains on the front of the coin, and it sold for $36.25 with 13 bids this time around. And one of the well-known CUD die breaks out there is on, I would suspect, 1970s Washington quarters. This one doesn't have a mint mark. And we know that once you get into the 80s, Philadelphia examples have a P mint mark. So this particular one right here has a really sizable die break that covers the date. So we don't know what date this one is. But even with that, it's still large enough that it's very well collected in the community. You could see a good deal of the weakening area. Same place on the reverse, and that's what you want to see here. This one right here sold for $80 with 7 bids, and that's kind of like a very consistent amount of money. These things have neither gone down or up. They've all sold in like $80 to $100 range. And here's our good old girl here, this well-loved 1954 Canada $1 bill with the mismatched serial numbers finally did sell. And this one, it might have been my video, I'm not sure, because I did a video on this very note probably, I don't know, a few days, if not a week ago. But you can see the second digit of the serial number is completely different. They're supposed to be the same. So this one right here sold for $470.77 US with 9 bids. So this one was actually converted to a auction. At first it was available as a buy it now. So I think they probably sold it for more than what they were trying to get for it in a buy it now listing. I mean, go figure. Sometimes that's how it works. There's the back of the note showing all sorts of circulation wear. It's far from pretty, but this is a very rare error on Canadian currency. What do you know? More currency. 2006 $1 bill. What do we have here? It's a very well circulated piece. You could probably see a little bit of a gutter fold right in the middle splitting through Washington, but it shows up a lot better on the reverse. So the sheet had a little bit of a wrinkle. It was printed over, and that's how you get these type of errors. This one right here sold for $79.99. I mean, that's pretty good. And of course, one of the big type pieces and one of the biggest Lincoln cent acquisitions or needed coins, I guess, is the 1922 plain no D Lincoln cent. Consider this one kind of like the poor man's version of it because it's got the weak reverse. There's 4 different reverse dies that were actually used during the production of this coin, and ultimately you want the strong reverse that shows like the lines in the wheat stalks. But this one is mushy, and it's the least desirable out of the other stronger reverse die type. But even still, man, when you find these and it's missing completely that Denver mint mark, enjoy the money. Really, enjoy it. If you don't want it and don't need it in your collection, sell it. They're always going to be a strong seller. $341.99 with 14 bids. I mean, I would have seen that coming a mile away, right? That kind of really healthy bidding activity on these are normal. So, and the final coin for the night, I guess, is going to be this 1978 Washington quarter. What up here, man? This is it's got a copper obverse and a nickel reverse. Well, if you guess that this was missing the nickel-clad layer on the front of the coin, then you're correct. That is exactly what we have here. And the planchet is a little bit thinner, which leads to a little bit of the mushier strike you could see on the reverse of the coin. It's a little bit weak there on the periphery and also on the front of the coin too. If you look at Liberty, it's not completely struck. So the planchet was a little bit thinner. So this one right here, again, very desirable error. This one looks like it's circulated a little bit. Ended up selling for $83.09. I believe it was a $79.99 buy it now listing with a few dollars for shipping. Certainly a really good deal here. But again, if you find one of these, they're worth money. All right, so don't toss them back or do anything of the sort. Don't make a rash decision like that. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the evening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. It was quite nice. Top to bottom, very flavorful. A lot of money to be made. And these are all out there for the taking. They always are. So that's it. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already to the video and channel. Come check me out on TikTok as well, at BlueRidgeSilverhound. But I am out of here. You guys go ahead and do some hunting and find some of these big pieces that I keep blabbering my mouth about. And come check out my my Friday Whatnot auction. It's going to be a blast. So take care, guys. Keep on collecting, and I will see you next time.